Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? Something very serious is happening in the Nolan Wells investigation, and it raises a question I don't think we can even begin to ignore anymore. Is the district attorney now threatening this case to go investigate a little deeper? Is she treating this case as a potential homicide? What do y'all think? Give me a thumbs up if you say yeah. Thumbs down if you say nah, man, nah, she ain't serious. She ain't serious. See, I haven't seen the DA publicly announce that Nolan's death has officially been ruled a homicide. So I got to put that out there right now. That's important. But look at how this case is moving. The DA has already said the investigation is going before a grand jury. Nolan's official autopsy has been completed, but the results haven't been released publicly. There's an ongoing fight over digital evidence. Nolan's cell phone is now moving toward a joint forensic examination, and the prosecutors are continuing to gather evidence instead of simply accepting the original narrative and closing the case. So what exactly are they investigating? Because if authorities were completely satisfied that Nolan accidentally drowned and nobody potentially committed a crime, why does this investigation appear to be getting more serious instead of less serious? That's the question. And there's a major distinction here, fam. A homicide ruling doesn't automatically mean murder. Homicide simply means a person's death resulted from the actions of another person. Whether those actions were criminal is an entirely separate situation. But we don't even publicly have that determination yet, fam. The autopsy results are being withheld pending grand jury review. And that makes those results even more interesting. What did the medical examiner find? What is Nolan's official cause of death? What is the manner of death? Accident, homicide, undetermined. We know that the medical examiner in this case, who has been the medical examiner for some other cases where Black people mysteriously were ended up dead and the suspects were white, we know that she'll pick any one of them. She'll pick anything but homicide, actually. She loves to rule suicide when Black people could turn up dead. Suicide, even if they get hung and even if they're found hung with 2 broken legs. Suicide. Even if they're found hung with no arms, they committed suicide, they hung themselves. We don't know, but somebody does. And that makes this situation so frustrating. The government possesses information that could answer some of the biggest questions surrounding Nolan's death, while the public and Nolan's family are still waiting. Then there's Nolan's cell phone. Everybody talking about the cell phone right now. The family has now agreed to a joint forensic examination. Good. Examine it. Because that phone may potentially help establish Nolan's movements, communications, and timeline during his final hours. And if investigators are seriously examining the possibility that somebody else played a role in Nolan's death, digital evidence could become extremely important. Who communicated with Nolan? When? What does the location data show, if recoverable? What photographs or videos exist? Does the digital timeline match the accounts investigators have received? Those are questions investigators should answer with evidence, not speculation. And here's why I'm watching the DA very closely, fam. First and foremost, I do not trust her. We're now hearing that this case could reach a grand jury within roughly the next month. Grand jurors could potentially hear evidence the public has never seen. They could hear witness testimony, They could receive forensic evidence. They could learn what's in that autopsy. And depending on what the prosecutors present, they could ultimately be asked to consider whether the probable cause exists for criminal charges. That doesn't mean somebody will be indicted. It doesn't mean Nolan's friends committed a crime. And it definitely doesn't mean we should declare somebody a murderer based on internet theories. But it does mean this case is still alive. And that alone matters. Because remember where this all started, fam. The early public narrative was essentially that there was no indication of foul play. Well, let me back up. That wasn't the public's narrative. That was the sheriff's narrative, John Ledbetter. And I always say if John led better, he would know better. Anyway, moving on. Now, weeks later, prosecutors are still gathering evidence. The autopsy remains under wraps. Nolan's phone is being pursued for forensic examination, and a grand jury is expected to review the investigation. That's movement. So I'm not telling you the DA has officially declared Nolan's death a homicide. She hasn't publicly done that based on anything I've seen about that was out there. I haven't been able to verify any of that. But I am asking something different. Has evidence caused prosecutors to take a harder look at the possibilities that weren't being publicly emphasized at the beginning? Because if the answer is yes, that's huge. If the answer is no, then eventually, or evidently, the DA needs to explain exactly where this investigation stands. Either way, the next few weeks could tell us a lot. Watch that cell phone examination. Watch that grand jury. And most importantly, watch what eventually happens with that autopsy. Because once the official cause and manner of Nolan Wells' death become known, the entire conversation could change overnight. And if that happens, look out, because there's clearly a line drawn in the sand for people who support Nolan Wells and those who support the people accused of being involved in his death. Joining me now, right now on Willie D Live, is my main man, Jack Palmieri, Attorney Jack Palmieri. Attorney Jack Palmieri to help us make sense. Jack, how you doing, man?
Very well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing great.
I don't want to alarm you. You're starting to sound like an attorney. You're starting to talk like a lawyer.
You know what? When I was saying it, I was like, man, this sounds like something Jack would say.
I'm sorry to rub off on you. You keep terrible company.
Hey, man. Hey, I do what I can on a small budget.
Okay.
Jack.
Thank you for having me. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Jack, what would you tell prosecutors? What would tell you that prosecutors are now treating this as a potential homicide?
The fact that we're hearing the words grand jury, all right? The fact that, people don't always realize is the prosecutors are not beholden to what law enforcement does, meaning whether or not police make an arrest or charge you with crime A, the prosecutors can choose to proceed with crime A. They can add crime B. They can drop crime A. If they're not satisfied, they can go forward on their own. And it sounds like whatever we've said, whatever we think, whatever law enforcement has or has not done, prosecutors are moving forward on their own. They're ready to convene the grand jury. It means they are bringing criminal charges against at least one person for something. And that's good news. That's progress.
Yeah, absolutely. What changes legally when a suspicious death investigation becomes a homicide?
Well, I mean, the gravity, it's, the stakes are higher now, where let's say you had a tampering with evidence charge, you're talking, third degree, second degree felonies, still important. But when you get to homicide, you're talking first degree felonies, you're talking possible life sentences. You're talking about all the chips in the middle. I mean, homicide's as serious it gets. It also means that the burden becomes that much more scrutinized, whereas you may forgive a crack in a prosecution case on a lesser charge charge. When it's homicide, you're accusing someone of being the reason someone else is dead, and it's going to be all charge. So for them to be going down that road, the prosecutors have a higher burden ethically than the police. It means they believe in good faith they have something against someone.
Could the completed autopsy be driving this shift behind the scenes?
I think so. I think no matter what the autopsy is, it helps that it is completed. I know a lot of people are hinging on if it's inconclusive. Inconclusive is not necessarily good or bad. It just means we couldn't rely on the autopsy for a cause of death. But I think it will rule out that he didn't die of old age, right? He didn't die of a heart attack. So if all of the criminal possibilities are in play, that is still good from a prosecution standpoint. The fact that it doesn't say conclusively from a forensic standpoint he died by murder, it doesn't rule it out either. And that's why you have, we talk about some circumstantial evidence or witness testimony. So I think it sounds like whatever the forensic examination says does not hurt the prosecution. If it helps or not, different question.
Yeah. But would the prosecutors need evidence of murder or merely evidence that another person caused Nolan's death?
I think evidence of someone causing another death is sufficient. Like you said, homicide, there's a lot of degrees of homicide. There's intentional homicide, there's reckless homicide, there's that manslaughter, there's a heat of the moment. There's, I acted so recklessly that I caused a death, like you said, in vehicular homicides where you drove 150 miles an hour and were changing lanes and you sideswiped someone, causing their death. So it doesn't need to be an intentional, premeditated, like premeditation's your top type of homicide murder charge. It could be, but if anyone is in any way directly, indirectly responsible in some degree for Nolan's death, all bets are off.
So if this is let's say this is treated, as a homicide. Let's say this is being treated as a homicide. Why hasn't there been any arrest?
Well, it hasn't been an arrest because law enforcement has chosen not to make the arrest. But if the prosecutors get the indictment, that arrest is imminent. So we haven't seen an arrest because law enforcement didn't feel. I don't want to say what they felt. I have no faith in law enforcement in this case. But for whatever reasons they've not committed to the idea of probable cause that anyone is criminally responsible to any degree for Nolan's death. Prosecutors don't have to wait on that. They don't have to sit on that. They don't have to accept that. They say, no, we think otherwise. Unfortunately, the prosecutor can't make the arrest directly, independently. They need this grand jury to give them the indictment, give them the true bill, bring down the charge, and then you're going to see a warrant for an arrest. If that grand jury comes with a probable cause for a true bill, there'll be warrants for arrests.
I do not like how the prosecution is moving in this case. I don't like how the law enforcement is moving in this case. I don't like how the government is, or the governor is moving in this case. Like, it seems like everybody with some type of, authority in Mississippi are all compromised, and they all seem to be leaning towards foul play. I personally think if there is an investigation, I think it's a dog and pony show, because it don't take this long for us to see no damn results of an autopsy. It doesn't, especially in a priority case like this, a case this big. This is an international case. In Mississippi, you got it. So this is supposed to be all hands on deck. Let's get these people answers immediately so we can quell public sentiment, the negative public sentiment here, because people are asking for answers, and we're getting tired of people on the internet saying this and that. Okay, let's put the real stuff out there. Let's get it out there for them so they can examine the real evidence, what's really real, and they don't have to speculate. but they're not doing that. They're over there sitting on their hands, and they're playing the waiting game. And I do believe that they're waiting for another major story to break so this story can get buried.
I think so. I'm gonna separate the prosecutors from the politicians and law enforcement. From a prosecution standpoint, I'm a prosecutor. If you want to see a true bill, you want to see an indictment for the top count for murder, right? Then it is smart. It's rational to give the prosecutors a little more time because you want them to get it right on the first shot. You don't want them to whiff on it, have to go get more evidence later. You want it to be a nice, clean, solid indictment out the gate. It could be they've been waiting to sort out the cooperation for Nolan's phone. And that's not putting blame on anyone. Just saying they would like it from a prosecution standpoint. Maybe they want that. Maybe you made a really great point in your opening. We don't know what evidence a prosecution has. Maybe they have witness testimony we don't know about. Maybe they've been working on an agreement with someone, get someone to testify against someone else. Because whoever they have testify as a witness, you also know is not going to be their suspect. So it could be they've just been tying up the loose ends, crossing T's, dotting I's, trying to salvage public opinion if they even can. But ultimately, the prosecutor, the buck stops with them, right? If this goes sideways, at the end of the day, I would blame the prosecutor, right? Get the evidence, do it right the first time. And if it takes a little longer, I'd rather see that than rush it and muck it up.
You've been covering this case now. I've been watching a lot of your videos and stuff, and you've been bringing up some good points and analysis. What do you think is going to be on that cell phone? What do you think they're going to find?
It could be anything. It really. I don't cancel anything out. We could find a motive for.
Look like we lost Jack. Let's see if we can bring Jack back. Let's see. Okay. Okay, we're gonna try to bring Jack back in a minute, fam. But in fact, let me go into the comments and see what y'all saying over here. Let me see what y'all talking about. Those boys' phones need to be investigated. Absolutely, Miss Anderson. You're absolutely right. Their phones need to be examined. We're waiting on Jack to come back. Let's see. Who else we got here? Lisa. What's up, Lisa? Paul Jeffers. Fitness John. Yeah. Take off that cap lock, player. Take that cap lock off, player. I saw China Carter earlier. What's up, China? Let's see. We got Justice Joyce. What's Joyce Agnew? The Halloween baby. Hey, what up? GNP Psalms. Soul to soul. Where's Nolan's throat and lungs? Okay, let's see if we got Jack back. I think, let's see. Jack, where you at, Jack?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't see you. You got a black screen. There we go. That's better.
Okay. There you go. Sorry about that. Live
so
television.
we having some issues with your internet connection. It's what do you call it? Buffering.
I'll come back on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll bring Jack back in a moment. We'll bring Jack back in a moment, and we'll keep it going. Um, this case is heating up, fam. I'm talking about heating all the way up. There is no way possible they're going to be able to sweep this case under the rug. Who we got here? Let's see. Do something right here. You know what? What my thing is this, fam. If this was as simple as an accidental drowning, why does the investigation keeps getting bigger instead of smaller? You do not bring a mysterious death before a grand jury because the internet wants you to. You don't bring it before a grand jury because the internet wants entertainment. You bring it, as my man Jack said, to the grand jury because you suspect foul play. Right or wrong, Jack?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So my next question is this for you, Jack. Why is it that you have, let's say, the DA's office? Why is it that the DA's office could have so much latitude in regards to what cases go forward and what cases remain stuck?
I think it goes back to the burden they have. They have an ethical burden to have a good faith basis that they could bring this case to a trial and win. They don't have to know they can win, but they can't bring an absolute, from an evidentiary standpoint, loser case to a grand jury and to a trial. They have to know not that they don't think there was a crime, but that they can prove the crime, right? We can all know. It's kind of like we use the cookie in the cookie jar example. You know, their cookies were in the cookie jar. Your friends come over, they leave, the cookies are gone. Someone ate them. You know someone ate them. You have to prove beyond the exclusion of every reasonable doubt who ate them. And there's always a difference between knowing something happened and proving something happened. Prosecutor has to prove it. That's
Give me
why
some
they
using that analogy. I want to stick to this analogy right quick. Using that analogy, you brought up the cookie analogy. Let's say somebody did eat the cookies. What are you looking for? What evidence are you looking for to say, Willie, I know you was in that kitchen, man. I know you went in there. It wasn't nobody here but me and you. You saying you didn't eat the cookies, but I know you ate them cookies. I didn't see you eat the cookies, but I know you ate those cookies. How do you prove I ate those cookies?
I put you as the last person with the cookies, right? I look for the cookie crumbs in your teeth. But to start, I put you in the room with the cookies. No one else was there. It was just you and the cookies. Now the cookies are gone. No one else could have done it.
So it was just you, and it was you and Nolan. You was the last one with Nolan, and Nolan is gone. So wouldn't it be fair for me to assume that you had some type of connection to his disappearance?
Very fair. Very fair. Just don't expect me to admit it, right? But very fair for you to assume it.
Right. Yeah. In regards, I know we're talking about the cell phone, and this is a very critical piece of evidence. Could that cell phone become critical to establishing homicide or eliminating it?
It could. It could. If there's anything on there about what Noah's intentions were, hey, I'm staying behind. Hey, I'm catching the next boat back. Hey, I can't believe Wyatt had an issue with me. Or, of course, I mean, anything could be on there. That's why it's so crucial. I don't know, and I'm dying to know. again, to the extent it doesn't help, doesn't mean it hurts, right? It could be nothing. It could not, and that's okay. Let's rule it out. But if it does help, it could be crucial, because again, we're still trying to tie it together. So I'm wildly curious. I just want to, I don't want to guess. I want to know, and I want to work with that. Give me something.
If the theory of the case has changed, how likely is it that investigators will interview or re-interview Nolan's friends?
You know, for me, I'm done with the police investigators. At this point, I would weigh on the prosecution. The prosecutor's office has their own investigators on staff. Okay. To the extent that we are not satisfied with law enforcement, we don't need them at this stage. We can send our own investigators out and do interviews, try to gather, tertiary evidence. And to the extent that we are going to use them, then I would look for the prosecutor to dictate to law enforcement, go get this done. Go interview this person. I need this for my prosecution. I need this for this conviction. I need this to charge this person with a crime. Go get me that thing. The law enforcement and the prosecutor's office are supposed to work hand in hand. They're supposed to be able to communicate and coordinate. And if a prosecutor says, you know what, I heard there's a ring camera on a door at Smith Street. Do me a favor, go check that out. They can go do it.
Well, one of the things that they allegedly did first, before they did anything, before they even went to Nolan's parents' house, they went to the judge's house. Have you heard that audio?
No.
Okay, that's audio. I actually got it on one of the other videos, one of the previous videos. I think it's like maybe 2 or 3 videos down. That's audio where the deputies are on the phone, and they're on the phone, and they're talking about going to what's her name? The judge's house. I can't say her name now. Ashley, I think her name is Ashley. No, is it Ashley? Ashley Cole, yeah. So they're talking about going to her house. They're on their way to her house. There's a missing body. There's a person missing. Instead of them going to the family house, they're going to the judge's house. Now, what's that about?
I like that from an evidentiary investigative standpoint for 2 reasons. One, if someone's missing, you need the most crucial, immediate information you can get right now to find that person. If you know someone's missing and you know someone knows something about that person, you don't want there to be a missing person. Going to the family is important because you want them to know, but you also don't want to scare them. You hope to not have a crime on your hands, right? And the family's not going to know where Nolan is, presumably, if he's missing. I want to find this person before it's too late. Now, what they should have done is send 2 units. Send 1 unit to the judge's house, send another unit to Nolan's parents' house. That's what they could have done. I presume there's more than 2 officers in this department. Send 2 squads immediately, 1 to the family, 1 to the source of the information. If I have to pick one, I'm going with the judge because I want to find this person.
What does the judge have to do with, what does the judge have to do with it?
Presumably she's the one that makes the first call to law enforcement, to 911, to inform authorities there's a possible missing person. Now, I don't know what that call was. I don't know that call has come out yet. Presumably it wasn't all inclusive. And even if it was, you want to get more information about this missing person. How do you know that? How do you know someone's missing? What else can you remember? Anything? Have you learned anything new since you made the call? They don't know yet that it's going to be a homicide or a death, or it could be little Bobby's hiding in the garbage can, right? All you know is there's a missing person, water's involved. Time is of the essence. Time is so critical in a missing person. If you see the reports and the statistics, the longer a person goes missing, incrementally, the less likely they are to be found in good health. So you got to find that person right away. It's very tough. I mean, again, this is a little bit of Monday morning quarterbacking. They could have gone to the family, and then the argument could have been made, why weren't you spending more time looking for him than going to the family? If the family doesn't know, and now you just worry the family, go find the boy, go find this young man. But they should have had more officers involved simultaneously, because maybe the family does know. Send 2 squads. That would have been the best play.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. If you're going to send somebody to the judge's house, one of them slow pokes in Mississippi should have said, Bob, I think it might be a good idea if we send somebody over to the Walmsley's address, because it's their son that's missing. Wouldn't you want to know if it's your son? Send the boys and send some saying, let's do something, man. Let's get on out there, get your ass on out there and go to the family's house. And don't meet them at no damn McDonald's. You give the judge the courtesy of going to her house and being in the comfort of her house for an investigative meeting to talk about this kid that's missing, but you tell the parents to meet you at McDonald's. You don't go to their house and let them be in. These are the people who potentially have a dead child on their hands. And you tell them, meet us at McDonald's. And then when you get there, you drop off a form for them to fill out, and then you take off. The family was the first investigators on the case. The family. They're the ones who went out and searched for Nolan's body first. It wasn't the Coast Guard. It wasn't law enforcement. It was the family. The family of Nolan Wells has been disrespected in this case from its inception. And this underscores how incompetent and corrupt Mississippi officials are. And I mean on all levels. Ain't none of y'all good. All y'all terrible. All of you. Yeah, you got one or two somebody working in there trying to do well or whatever, but eventually you're going to corrupt them too. So I'm telling you, any of y'all that's working in Mississippi, y'all some officials, and you in law enforcement, you in healthcare, if you're in the judicial system and you really mean well, you better get out, because Mississippi ain't gonna change. It's legendary for being corrupt. It's legendary for being incompetent. It's legendary for having a bunch of mediocre people who think their SHIT don't stink.
Listen, everything you're saying is right. Everything you're saying is right.
If you were representing Nolan's family right now, what's the number one question you're demanding from you're demanding that the prosecutor answer?
If I want them to tell me right now, I know they won't tell me specifics. Tell me generally, what have you done? I'm the family. I'm the parents. I know it's an open investigation. I know all the rhetoric. I know the lines. Give me something to have faith in you that you're doing right by my son. Tell me, what are you expecting in this grand jury? What I'd like to know, what charges are you bringing to the grand jury? Are you bringing homicide charges? Are you bringing tampering charges? Are you bringing something else? What are you bringing? Because we are automatically tying a grand jury to a homicide charge. That might not be the case. I think it should be. I think that's where this should be going. We don't know that yet. What charges are you actually bringing? What are you doing? The law enforcement has failed me. The politicians have failed me, right? They failed Nolan. They failed his family. The federal government is taking a pass right now. They have failed. What are you doing? What are you doing to maintain any hope in the justice system? Show me the justice in the system. Give me some. I'm his mom and dad. Give me something. They can do that.
Yeah, they could, but they're not, because, because like I said, they're corrupt. They, and I think they take pride in that corruption. You got to know how y'all been moving, to know Mississippi's reputation. They have done nothing to try to correct people's perception of them, people's negative perception of Mississippi. They have done absolutely nothing to be inviting, nothing, to show that they have progressed, to show evolution. It's sad, bro, because it's all kinds of stuff that happening on the ground in Mississippi. You probably don't know, but they got this, they got a hit right now out on black homeowners, where they're trying to literally steal black homes from underneath its owners. Like literally coming up with all these little legal loopholes and games and stuff that they play to try to steal people's property. Yeah, so I know about that Mississippi. I keep my eyes on y'all. I know what y'all be doing out there. I don't trust y'all. I don't trust none of y'all. None of y'all. All of y'all. You're in the same gang, man. How do you live with yourselves? You're supposed to be better than your ancestors. How you gonna take that right? See, but that's what happened, man. That's what happened when your blood is poison. That's right. I said it. Prove me wrong, Mississippi. One of y'all officials out there, step up to the plate and show me something different, Mississippi. Who out there? Y'all say y'all decent. You're decent. You're God-fearing people. You're God-loving people. You love community. You love your brother, your sister. Show me. I ain't from Mississippi, but I could easily be from the show me state. Because you got to show me. Action speaks louder than words. Mississippi, where you at? All of you so-called good, decent people. Y'all know what it is. A lot of y'all know exactly what happened to Nolan Wells. Why you ain't came forward? How come you ain't came forward? Yeah, you haven't came forward because you're not as decent as you would like to think you are. That's why you haven't come forward. Because you're wicked and your blood is poisoned. Yeah, anyway.
No, listen, you're right on. They're doing nothing for their reputation. If anything, they're leaning in on it. I think I've said from the beginning, you don't get a 911 call made unless someone knows something. Sometimes the hardest thing to do in life is the right thing. And that's why it's the right thing. That's why you're supposed to. You step up. A lot of people are hurting here from the family in a very, direct to the community, to all of us here watching. Someone's got to step up and do the right thing. I hope the prosecutor is having some success with that where law enforcement did not. But we need someone, like you said, to hold the banner for what is right and good. Otherwise, it's more of the same.
Absolutely. It's more of the same. Well, let's hope, man, we get some changes real soon. We're 2 days away. Actually, we're 1 day away from Nolan's birthday. Yeah, we're less than 24 hours away from his birthday. He would have been 19 years old if somebody hadn't taken his life. He would have been 19 years old. And there's a candlelight visual for him that his parents are holding in his honor with the entire community and beyond. So make sure that y'all tune in for that. I will be live for that. I'll present that live. And, I hope y'all will join me. Thank you, Jack, for joining me again, man. As always, I appreciate your insight.
You're very welcome, my friend. Thank you.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of Willie D Live. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. No more talk.